John was born in a small village nestled between rolling hills. Life was hard. The villagers worked tirelessly. They farmed the land. They struggled to survive. John lived with his mother, his older brother, and little sister. His father was dead. He died when John was very young. John missed him dearly. John's mother worked tirelessly to provide for her children. She was a seamstress. She sewed late into the night. She mended clothes for the other villagers. She did whatever she could to make ends meet. John loved his mother very much. He admired her strength. He wanted to help her. He wanted to make her proud. Even as a young boy, John felt different. He felt a strange energy within him. It was like a spark waiting to ignite. He didn't understand it. He kept it to himself. He spent his days playing with his siblings. They ran through the fields. They chased butterflies. They had each other. That was enough. One cool evening, John was helping his mother collect firewood. He picked up a twig. He held it in his hand. A strange sensation ran through him. The twig burst into flames. John was shocked. He dropped the burning twig. He looked at his hands in disbelief. What had just happened? What had just... John showed his mother the flames. He was scared. He didn't understand what was happening. His mother calmed him. She had heard whispers of magic. It was rare, it was powerful, it was dangerous. She told John to keep it a secret. John practiced his magic in secret. He practiced in the dead of night. He practiced in the nearby forest. He didn't want anyone to see him. He didn't want to scare anyone. He didn't want to be different. But the more he practiced, the stronger he became. He could control the flames. He could make them dance. He could make them disappear. Magic was a gift. It was a burden. John knew he had to learn more. He needed a teacher. He needed guidance. But where could he find it? Magic was a closely guarded secret. Only the wealthy could afford to learn it. One ordinary morning, a letter arrived for John. It was delivered by a majestic owl. John was astonished. He had never received a letter before. He opened it with trembling hands. It was an invitation to the Arcane Academy, the most prestigious magic school in the land. John's heart skipped a beat. Could this be his chance? The Arcane Academy was a place of wonder. It was a place of learning. It was a place of opportunity. It was a place John had only dreamed of. He read the invitation again and again. He couldn't believe his luck. This was his chance to master his magic. This was his chance to escape poverty. This was his chance to make something of himself. John showed the invitation to his mother. She was surprised. She was worried. She knew that magic was dangerous. She knew that the academy was far away. But she also knew that this was John's dream. She couldn't stand in his way. She gave him her blessing. John packed his meager belongings. He said goodbye to his siblings. He hugged his mother tightly. He promised to return home soon. He promised to make her proud. He set off on the long journey to the academy. He traveled on foot. He traveled with a heart full of hope. He traveled with a burning desire to prove himself. The journey was long. The journey was tiring. But John didn't give up. He kept his eyes on the prize. He dreamed of the day he would walk through the academy doors. He dreamed of the day he would become a powerful mage. He dreamed of the day he could finally provide for his family. The Arcane Academy was more magnificent than John could have imagined. The castle loomed above him. Towers reached for the sky. John had never seen such grandeur. He felt a pang of nervousness. He didn't belong here. He was just a poor village boy. John walked through the grand entrance hall. Students bustled around him. They wore fine robes. They chatted excitedly. They seemed so confident. John felt a lump in his throat. He felt out of place. He clutched his worn bag tightly. He was determined to prove himself. The other students were from wealthy families. They had been trained from a young age. They looked down on John. They mocked his simple clothes. They sneered at his lack of knowledge. John ignored their taunts. He knew he had to work harder. He had to prove them wrong. John's days were filled with challenges. He struggled to keep up with the lessons. He spent his nights studying by candlelight. He practiced his magic in secret. He didn't want to be mocked. He wouldn't give the other students the satisfaction. He was determined to succeed. Section 5. The Weight of Poverty. Poverty had taught John resilience. He had faced hardship his entire life. He refused to let the bullying break him. Instead, he used it as fuel. He would become the best mage the Academy had ever seen. He would show them that magic wasn't reserved for the wealthy. John spent every spare moment in the library. He devoured books on magic. He studied ancient spells. He learned about magical theory. He soaked up knowledge like a sponge. He was determined to make up for lost time. He would surpass his privileged peers. Despite his hard work, John couldn't escape the prejudice. Some students refused to work with him. They whispered behind his back. They called him the village rat. John ignored them. He focused on his studies. He knew that knowledge was power. He would earn their respect through his abilities. One day, John was practicing his magic in a secluded courtyard. He was so engrossed in his studies that he didn't hear the footsteps approaching. He turned to see a group of older students. They were smirking. They had come to teach him a lesson. John felt a surge of fear, but he wouldn't back down. The older students surrounded John. They hurled insults. They mocked his poverty. They threatened to teach him a lesson. John stood his ground. He refused to be intimidated. He knew that magic was more than just brute force. It required control. It required discipline. John closed his eyes. He took a deep breath. He focused his energy. Enough! A commanding voice boomed across the courtyard. The older boys stopped. They turned to see who dared interrupt them. Master Eldrick, the headmaster of the academy, stood before them. He was a formidable figure. His eyes were filled with wisdom. His presence commanded respect. Master Eldrick had been observing John. He was impressed by the young mage's determination. He was intrigued by his raw power. He had seen John practicing in secret. He recognized his potential. Master Eldrick decided to take John under his wing. He would become his mentor. John was astonished. He had never had a mentor before. He had always learned on his own. He was both excited and terrified. Master Eldrick was a legend. He was the most powerful mage in the land. He had trained generations of Archmages. John knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He couldn't let Master Eldrick down. Under Master Eldrick's guidance, John's skills flourished. He learned advanced spells. He mastered ancient techniques. He unlocked the secrets of his magic. He discovered that his connection to magic was different. It was stronger. It was more primal. It was something truly special. John kept his unique abilities a secret. He practiced in secluded parts of the academy. He didn't want to attract attention. He didn't want to be exploited. He knew that his power could be dangerous if it fell into the wrong hands. He trusted Master Eldrick implicitly. He would guide him. Years passed. John excelled in his studies. He surpassed even Master Eldrick's expectations. He became a master of all forms of magic. He could conjure firestorms. He could control the elements. He could even heal the sick. He had become a formidable mage. The annual mage tournament was approaching. It was a chance for the students to test their skills. It was a chance to prove themselves against the best mages in the land. John knew that he had to win. He needed to prove to everyone, especially to himself, that he was no longer the scared village boy. He was a force to be reckoned with. The day of the tournament arrived. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation. The stands were filled with spectators. Nobles, merchants, and mages from far and wide had come to witness the spectacle. John could hear the roar of the crowd. He felt a surge of adrenaline. He was ready. John fought his way through the ranks. He defeated each opponent with skill and precision. He used his unique abilities sparingly. He didn't want to reveal his full potential. Not yet. He had to make sure that his victory was decisive. He had to make a statement. The final round pitted John against the reigning champion. He was a prodigy from a noble family. He had been groomed for this moment his entire life. He was confident. He was arrogant. He underestimated John. He would pay dearly for his mistake. John unleashed his full power. He let loose the raw magic that he had kept hidden for so long. He fought with a ferocity that shocked everyone, even Master Eldrick. He was unstoppable. He defeated the champion. He was crowned the victor. He was the new Archmage. The crowd erupted. John had done it. He had achieved the impossible. He was a legend. As Archmage, John commanded respect and admiration. He had achieved the pinnacle of magical power. He could have anything he desired. He could have lived a life of luxury. But John had not forgotten his roots. He had not forgotten the hardships he had endured. He had not forgotten his family. John returned to his village. He was greeted as a hero. The villagers cheered his name. His mother wept tears of joy. His siblings looked at him with awe. He was home. He had finally achieved his dream. He could finally provide for his family. He could finally make a difference. The village had fallen into further disrepair during John's absence. The crops had failed. The villagers were struggling to survive. John was heartbroken. He vowed to use his power to help them. He would rebuild their homes. He would provide them with food and medicine. He would ensure that they never knew hardship again. John used his magic to revitalize the land. He conjured rain for the crops. He healed the sick. He built new homes and a school for the children. He shared his knowledge of magic with those who showed potential. He wanted to give them the opportunities he never had. He wanted to ensure that no one in his village would ever have to struggle the way he did. Word of John's actions spread throughout the land. People were inspired by his generosity. They were moved by his compassion. They began to see magic in a new light. It wasn't just a tool for power. It was a force for good. John became a symbol of hope. He showed the world that even the most disadvantaged could rise to greatness. He showed them that magic could be used to help others. He inspired a new generation of mages. They flocked to his village, eager to learn from him. They wanted to follow in his footsteps. John founded a new academy in his village. It was open to everyone, regardless of their social status or wealth. He believed that everyone had the potential to learn magic. He wanted to create a world where magic was used for the betterment of all. John's academy flourished. It became a beacon of learning and progress. Mages from all over the world came to study there. They learned to use their powers responsibly. They learned to use their magic to make the world a better place. John's legacy was secured. He had changed the world. John's story is a testament to the power of perseverance. He overcame poverty, prejudice, and countless other obstacles to achieve his dreams. He never forgot where he came from. He used his power to help others. He left behind a legacy of hope that would inspire generations to come. John's journey teaches us that anything is possible if we dare to dream big and work hard. It shows us that even the smallest spark can ignite a fire that changes the world. It reminds us that true power lies not in might, but in compassion and the desire to make a difference. John's story will continue to be told for centuries to come. It will be a source of inspiration for those who feel lost or alone. It will remind them that they too have the power to overcome adversity and achieve their dreams. And so the tale of John, the village boy who became an Archmage, will live on, a beacon of hope in a world that so often forgets the power of kindness, the importance of perseverance, and the magic that resides within us all.